Hello, welcome to the Stream Podcast.
Yes, welcome.
uh, I'm Jesse, also known as Kavium,
I'm Manuel, also known as Solikit.
and
Uh,
today we're gonna be doing my topic,
yes. What
my
episode is
house.
this? Episode 6?
Let
Losing
me-
track already. I think it's
I wonder
6.
why. I wonder why we're losing
Listen, no
track.
reason. Okay, definitely nothing to do with pumpkins or anything like that.
What? Yeah. Today's my house, my topic. I finally thought of something.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So, you ready for it?
Sure,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I was thinking we can talk about what we think about live service games because Helldivers 2 came out and it's a live service game. It's doing fantastic. A lot of people are loving the not only the game but like their monetization setup and all of the positive support from it, and the CEO is really down to earth and like shits on idiots on the internet. So they're getting a lot of love and respect for that. So I think it'd be fun to kind of talk about what we think about live games, the goods and bads, and games we think that are doing great, games that fucking shit the bed, and there's a lot of those.
Mhm.
And yeah, just our overall thoughts.
Well, I'm gonna
I think,
preface this with I think a lot of it is negative. There are some positives, but a lot of it is negative.
So I'll start the conversation with, let's define live service so we're all on the same page here. So technically speaking, anything that has like patches after launch is considered like live patches. It'd make it a live game. But we are probably going to be talking more about live games in the sense that it's built to cater to an audience for a long period of time, maybe years of service of the same game. And there's frequent live patches, there's probably seasons or battle passes, just stuff that monetizes for continued lifespan of the video game. So you think you agree with that definition going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was some kind of breaking point because I assume like in the past, say like an old game like Team Fortress 2, I don't know if they would have called that a live service game. I'm not sure if it even gets big updates anymore. I know a lot of people still play it. I'm just not sure if they have big updates.
I think there's patches, but it's not content updates.
Okay. It's kind of an interesting dynamic though, because I don't know if it would have been called a live service game at the time, but it probably kind of was, like it turned out that way in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like games that come out with the intention, especially these days, whether they shifted into that type of way or not, like whether they were like that at first or not. I mean, where like the intention is to keep updating it with new content or change the game over time or whatever, so people keep playing for a long time.
Yeah. And yeah, I was wondering, I structured the topic a little bit, but I don't know where to start exactly. Is there a topic specifically you would like to kind of start off with?
I don't know about like topic per se. My mind kind of just automatically goes to like kind of like the VR one where it's like starting from the start and kind of working our way up, or we don't
I kind
have
of
to do
thought
it
the
that way.
same too, but I don't have a defined start of live service games. I think probably MMOs were the first live service games, like actually built to cater to an audience for an extended period of time. And
Yeah, look
obviously the
at WoW,
most,
right? Like
yeah,
WoW would be,
WoW is like probably the best example
yeah. I mean,
for the up and downs of a service.
yeah,
One complete service, because it has had a lot of flack, and we're neither of us are WoW players, so we're not very educated
No.
in the lifespan. But yeah, I think it probably everything kind of stems from WoW. WoW was the biggest thing. A lot of people played it. Companies realized, oh, one game can be our thing. We might not need to do multiple games every year, like from different studios to make money. We can just make one big game and kind of reek from memberships because WoW was like, is it still membership based?
Yeah.
Okay, there's still a membership fee.
Which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Like, even despite, I think you have to pay for the new content on top of it, right? Like, technically it's DLC you pay for, I think.
Yes, at the beginning. I don't think it's the same anymore.
Oh. I think something like World of Warcraft is ridiculous to me, because imagine if someone has played this entire time without break, like without ever canceling. Obviously, I would say probably the majority of people at this point have canceled their membership, and probably a lot of people like put it on when they want to play and put it off, unless you're like someone really hardcore, I guess. But even then, imagine how much money they've spent over time, right? Like, and that's for one game. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about like potentially thousands, like multiple thousands of dollars for this one game.
Yeah. And I'm curious for a while. So, like, obviously at the beginning they were very, very profitable, but I think the last few DLCs, from what I understood from the internet, was that some of them have been good, most of them have been bad, and they kind of been falling off. But when do they? Like, I wonder how far they are from their profit margin, from their like continuous. Like, obviously they have a bottom line of, the people that are hired to run what's still left of WoW, which is probably a big team because WoW's still pretty big. And then you have the building they're in, the infrastructure, all that shit. So I wonder kind of where they are comparatively to before, because I'm assuming the bottom line doesn't really change much unless they add people to the team. And the profit margin fluctuates huge because it depends if their content's good or not I don't know how WoW works. Season? I don't know. Like,
I'm not sure.
Expansion.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see that.
I bet you it doesn't really cost them that much to make new expansions and stuff, because you gotta think, like, the game's been out for a long time. Surely at this point they have. I'm just assuming here, so I have no clue, right? I'm just making assumptions on like what would make sense. I feel like logically. It's been so long that I feel like they probably have systems, and they've probably become very efficient in adding new content. They probably reuse a lot of stuff for their content. I don't think they're like remaking new assets and like redoing everything every single time that they have an expansion. There's probably a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't seem that way, right?
There might be. And a cost, probably the biggest cost, is just server space. Continued server space.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of their biggest costs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we both agree WoW was probably the one to kick it off. I think, but in my opinion, I think the one to popularize it was probably GTA 5.
Probably.
Because it kind of came out, we all thought GTA Online was cool, but it's probably going to be a short gimmick. And then it gained a lot of traction, and they started doing big updates. And then when the big updates hit and people start realizing, wow, this train's not stopping. And then there's shark cards, because grinding in that game's unbearable. So you buy shark cards.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of started the trend of a long withheld one game, because obviously they haven't really made anything until Red Dead 2, and that was multiple years after. When did Fortnite come out?
2000, I think it got popularized in like 2017 or something like that. It was quite a bit after GTA. It wasn't really close.
Yeah, I was just making sure because then I didn't want to say like, oh, GTA is the one that kicked it off, and then Fortnite was like 6 months after because it could have been Fortnite.
No, there was like 4 or 5 years at least. I'm pretty sure it was like 2016 or 17 that Fortnite really kicked off. 17, I'd like to say, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't know if GTA is necessarily, because I'm thinking about like Call of Duty and stuff. I'm not sure when Call of Duty started including stuff like microtransactions and
I
like
don't
not.
think we can call Call of Duty live service
I guess not
because
live
they
service now. Maybe more so though because of like Warzone and stuff, but maybe not
yeah,
back
and
then. Yeah,
that was the last like 2 or 3 years of Call of Duty, really.
I guess it
Well,
just
maybe a bit
depends.
more now.
It just depends what we would consider live service because they would add new maps and stuff. Is that would we consider that to be live service?
But the thing is, they make a new game every year, and then they don't expect the last game to hold the population. They
it's
want
like
people to
a
go to the
it's like
new
a
game.
pseudo live service. It's like a
Yeah, they get all the microtransactions bullshit and the really shitty buy shit tactics
yeah.
for a live service game and put in their every year title so they get extra money.
Yeah.
But yeah, recently I would say Warzone's a good example of live service because Warzone has stayed the same for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and they get big updates and stuff.
Like
And
since COVID or whatever. Whenever Warzone, man, I really don't remember when this game
I
came
mean,
out.
pretty
I
much
don't
all
play it.
VRs are live service.
Yeah, yeah, they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
So I know that like GTA popularized live, like full on live service games, and then Fortnite popularized uh, monetization in a live service game.
Okay. Well, I'm
'Cause-
kind of. I'm a little bit confused because I thought we were talking about microtransactions, but we seem to be. Wasn't your subject supposed to be microtransactions?
no, I just said live service.
I feel like
My
I.
convo is what we think
What did
about
you
live
say?
service games because Helldivers 2 is pretty big right now and it's a live service
Okay.
game that's doing really well.
Sorry, my brain was. I'm
Off.
yes. I don't know why. Anyway, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
um, I mean, they kind of go like hand in hand together, anyway, to some extent. Not
They
always.
do. They pretty much do. No, you're right. I don't think
Though,
you're wrong.
yeah, a lot of it does, but it's not every single game. Some have microtransactions, but I wouldn't consider them live service.
To be obnoxious. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, but I think live service started it, and then the other games just adopted it because they were like, "Wow, this is working. I don't care that we don't essentially need to ask for money because we make people pay up front, and
Yeah.
the game only lasts 40 hours."
Mhm.
So
I think Rocket League is where I like. Obviously, I was aware. I feel like we've all been aware of like transactions and live service like coming up more and more. But because I played so much Rocket League and I seen it happen while I was playing it, that's the one that kind of hits closer to home for me.
because you could see like the horse armor incident in real time in Rocket League if you played it from the very
Yeah.
beginning to right now,
Oh yeah,
which is kind of hilarious.
it was crazy. I mean, the game was already live service from the start, I would say.
Yeah.
Even though they
Was,
don't really add that much content, but whatever, it's still technically live service.
You had to pay for it too at the very beginning.
Yeah,
it was
well,
$30.
That's what I was gonna say, right? So I remember I paid $30, whatever. And you could buy cosmetics and stuff, but they were pretty cheap. You could buy like a pack of like a decent amount of stuff. You would get like several items, and it was like $5, maybe $10 on the really pricey side. This was like back when microtransactions were like more kind of starting out too. Like they weren't really that big of a thing yet.
And they were exclusive. You missed the sale, you didn't get it ever again.
Yeah.
It wasn't attached to seasons or anything like that. You couldn't get into packs eventually. They were exclusive.
Yeah. But then the game went free to play. And then all of a sudden, now you're paying for like a single skin of one car or like a single wheel, like a set of wheels, obviously, not just one wheel. Or like whatever, right? Or just one car, and you're paying as much as the entire game cost when it first came out. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, I get it, it's free to play, but that price increase is just ridiculous. Like, it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
And I'll just add, the price increases, but nothing changed about the game except maybe like they added was the Fennec pre-free or post-free?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Okay, I just know pre-free there wasn't a lot of different car types, and after there's a decent amount of car types that got added. But like besides car types, you pay all this extra money for like stuff you don't have to buy to play, which is fair.
Yeah.
But nothing happened to the game.
Yeah.
Nothing fucking changed.
That's the thing too, okay? So like nothing changed, and to kind of touch on what you said too about like you don't have to buy stuff. But I feel like the big difference is, first of all, when you had to pay when you had to pay for the game, you could buy skins and stuff, like I said, like a multitude of stuff for fairly cheap, right? So it was easy to dish out like a little bit of money to get something cool because you wanted to change up the look of your car or something, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
You could have been like 100 hours in, you're like, $5, I'll support the company, I played this game a lot.
Yeah, exactly. The issue, and like it's the same thing with any of these type of games, same like with Fortnite or whatever, and all these skins that you have to buy, and they're like free to play live service games. So like supposedly that's supposed to be like essentially like you're buying the game, but you're like you're paying for a service or whatever. But the prices are just ludicrous, right? Like I would rather pay $70. We're in Canada, so games are like $70 to $80 for us, just in case anyone isn't aware. I would rather pay the full price of a AAA game and get all the skins, or kind of like Rocket League, where I can buy like multiple skins for like $5 or whatever, then get a free game, which is fine. Like we said, like you can play the game without the skins and all that. But it's kind of annoying, right? Like sometimes you want to have a cool skin. You want to like, it's kind of like part of having fun in games to customize your characters and stuff. And like having to pay like $30 for like one skin or whatever. I'm not sure how much it costs in Fortnite or whatever, but you get my point. Like,
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. My problem stems more with if they do ask to charge that much, how good is the game? Is it worth that much to buy a skin for it to finally decide to support them? Fortnite, you can argue they launched some crazy stuff. Like they actually provide huge content updates and stuff like that, which is really cool. They get their money from the skins. They get to do that stuff. That's really cool. And then if you look to Rocket League, which is a good comparison because they're both owned by Epic right now, people wanted racing in Rocket League for the longest fucking time. People buy skins on that game. No racing in Rocket League. Guess where it went? To fucking Fortnite. Yeah. Why? Just why? Why couldn't it be in the game it was supposed to be in?
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that too? I don't think I tried it myself. I don't remember trying it if I did. But I watched plenty of people like play it. It doesn't make me think of Rocket League at all. Like not even remotely, except for the cars and like the boosting, I guess. Nothing about it though screams Rocket League whatsoever to me, which is really funny. Like it's ironic.
I just do they not make enough money to add a game mode? I don't know, but
No,
it doesn't feel like they don't.
I they probably do. A lot of people still play Rocket League. People like to say Rocket League's dead game or whatever, but you know how people are. They say that for any game at this
Yeah,
point.
this. I think there's a healthy community on Rocket League, so
Yeah,
we
I
might
mean,
not play it anymore, but
no. And it's
I
probably
don't think
not
it's
the
dead.
biggest it's ever been, but like
Yeah,
there's surely enough people playing.
yeah.
Um
So to move on to more recent stuff, which is kind of hilarious. I don't know uh, how up to date you are with the games we haven't played, because Suicide Squad's pretty hilarious.
uh I mean, yeah, I've watched people play it. I've heard a whole bunch about it.
Yeah. Did you hear about like recent population on it?
No.
It's like under 10K. The game just came out.
I mean, yeah, it's
Hey, it just came out and it's supposed to be live service.
okay. But yeah, it's
But
pretty
what- but
low.
what- I think if
I
you
think
check,
it's because I'm I when you said that, for some reason I was expecting like a really low, like when you said before you said 10K, I thought you were going to say like 100. And I was like
it could be stupid low now. But if
um
I
it's just I
like
think
I'm,
my expectations set me to such a low level that when you said 10K I was like, "Oh, it's actually like not that bad."
let me check right now.
Which is
Suicide.
funny because I was expecting it to be way lower. I thought it was like I haven't played it. I just watched people play it. I didn't think it was that bad of a game. Like it wasn't game of the year by any means, but like a lot of people I feel like shat on it a lot more than they deserved. It wasn't like it wasn't the worst game ever.
I saw gameplay and I understand the complaints and I wouldn't be able to play it. So
Yeah, I don't think I would play it either.
oh my god. Okay, it is as bad as you thought.
Is it?
Oh, hell yeah. So 24-hour peak was 575.
There we go. Yeah, okay. That's bad. That's really bad.
That's
10K
that's
I would have
a,
been like, you know, it's bad, but like it's still a decent amount of people. Yeah, 500 is like really low.
is crazy. I'll try to back up the. Oh. I thought it was higher than that, to be honest. That's crazy. I bet there's more people playing Arkham, like the Batman game,
Probably,
than
yeah.
people playing this game,
Yeah.
which is a lot to say about how bad this game is perceived. I haven't
mean,
played it.
The Witcher 3 is still like one of the most played games on Steam. And it's
Yeah.
been out, there's no updates or nothing for so long, and it's been out for a long time.
Because you don't need to be a live service game to get played all the time. Now, that game is no longer making money for them, though.
Yeah.
But it made enough money for them to keep running and probably turn a huge profit. So it's like Pal World. They didn't make a live service game that fucking bugs you about microtransactions, but they made a killing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably going to finish the game and be like, here you go. We'll go work on something else now.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of Pal World, a little bit off subject, but I watched a Nintendo Direct. Or sorry, not Nintendo Direct. I didn't watch a Nintendo Direct too, but I meant a Pokemon. I don't know what they call it, like a Pokemon announcement stream or video or whatever.
okay.
It was all very mediocre. I'm sure people will tell me that it wasn't mediocre, like super fans of Pokemon, but it was all very mediocre. The most interesting thing was Pokemon Legends ZA, which is apparently a it's set in what's the Pokemon Y and Z? I think is that I can't remember.
I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't know.
Anyway, it's like it's set in one of the like established Pokemon game universes of it. And I seen some people talk about it and they're excited, and it's like we didn't see anything. Like nothing. All we saw was like this CGI trailer that wasn't even like an impressive, it wasn't even like a trailer that you would watch that you'd be like wow, this is like, even though it's just CGI, it's like really fun and like a fun trailer, right?
Isn't X and Y the other kind of open world Pokemon?
Is that the one that has like a futuristic city or something with a big tower? I don't know. That's what would the Legends one had. I have no clue.
It has a medieval city that's kind of like steampunky.
I don't know. I don't know enough about like
There's like
most
black
modern
bricks.
Pokemons.
Well, I saw gameplay footage. Like I played X and Y, and I saw like game footage side by side. I think I'm remembering that's the right game. But I seen gameplay footage of X and Y that I think it's the game before Arceus. That was 3D, but not fully open world. It was just like kind of like a regular Pokemon game, except it was 3D and there was open spaces, but not completely explorable.
okay.
And that game wasn't like, it was well received, but it was still wasn't what people wanted. And then Arceus came out claiming to be better than that. And then you look at the footage side by side, and like X and Y is miles ahead in a lot of ways. Like it looks better, it runs smoother, it's more visually appealing. There's more animations. It's like crazy, and the world itself is built to be interesting. Like you go into town and there's a lot to look at and people to talk to, and then Arceus is like an empty landscape with nothing going on in it. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah. It's like they just released an unfinished game.
They just
side by side.
They dropped the ball so hard on Arceus. There's so much potential. It could have been the Breath of the Wild or Zelda or whatever of Pokemon, right?
Hell yeah.
This is why I have no excitement at all. Not just the fact that the trailer sucked, because there's nothing. It's not that the trailer sucked per se. It's just there's nothing impressive about it. Literally, the whole trailer is just like, it's kind of hard to explain, but all you see is like almost like diagrams of like the city and stuff, and then you see like these weird like like a blue outline of the city and like some Pokemon and people in the city, but it's not like but it's not even like gameplay or anything. It's just like obviously CGI, but it's not even like impressive or anything. There's nothing about the trailer that I could imagine would get anyone excited for that game except for like hardcore Pokemon fans.
I'll have to look at it. It sounds intriguing. I kind of want to see it for myself.
Yeah.
Not to kind of reel us back on live service games.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to go on that tangent because you mentioned Power.
Yeah, no worries. What would you find? Give me your best and worst live service games you've played.
Oof.
From recent memory.
From recent memory or just like throughout my whole life?
Recent memory for you, because you forget anything past 10 minutes.
Fair. I'd like to say Pal World, but it's hard to say because it hasn't really like been long enough. There hasn't been like any major update or anything, so it's I feel like it's a bit unfair.
I don't think Pal World's live service though.
I think I would call it live service. They plan to like get big updates in the future, and a lot of stuff would change, like expand and stuff.
That's because it's early access.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's
like, I think,
okay. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Where do we draw the line?
Well, I think early access, it's kind of the same, but because the game's not released, it doesn't count. And if there's no transactions in it, like in the game, it also it's fundamentally different.
Okay, but
So like Valheim, they had a huge year one like early access, uh, but then the game's done, and now they're kind of slow and they're not really monetizing anything. So that's not a live service game, but it's the same. It was technically the same development process that Powered's supposed to have. What we think is going to happen, unless they change their mind and do make it a live service game.
I think the line, at least in my head, is more blurred because I don't think buying anything means anything for live service. They do tend to go hand in hand. And I think the title early access also doesn't mean that much for games, especially for games
Anymore.
like that. Well, story games is different, but games like Pal World, where it's like a open world sandbox, are, in my opinion, virtually, even though they call it early access, are not really that much different than, say, like Fortnite. Because obviously they're way different like games, but I just mean that like you could argue that Fortnite when it came out in 2017 was quote unquote early access, even though they didn't like call it that. And now they've had a lot of updates over time. They added content, guns, whatever. The map has changed. There's a whole bunch of different game modes and stuff now too. You could almost argue that that's the exact same thing as an early access game. It's like there's not really any difference. There's just the naming is different, right?
Well, I know it's not how early access games feels nowadays, but they're supposed to be broken, janky, and unfinished.
I guess the difference, though, the main difference would be that Fortnite has no end in sight, whereas Pal World or like similar games in both ways would have an end in. So like Fortnite keeps going forever
Yeah,
until it can't anymore, whereas Pal World at some point will
it's done.
probably end on like some. But then
Yeah,
you could argue, let's say Pal World keeps being profitable for a very long time, like people are really into it. Uh, then it's weird though, right? Because you can almost argue the same thing if they just choose to keep updating essentially forever
yeah.
because people just keep playing it.
But if people play it and they don't have a way to incentivize people playing it, they're gonna have to move on eventually. They can't make free content forever.
That's what I mean, though. If it
Mm.
keeps being profitable over time for a long time, then what's the difference, right? Like if new players join, or maybe they sell DLC or expansions or whatever.
DLC would work, yeah.
Yeah. So like,
It
what's
just
the technical name of stuff is different, but like what
yeah.
happens isn't
So
that much different.
I think attention is important for the definition, uh, because like when we talked about at the start, games can be updated for the rest of their lifespan, but they technically are a live service game because they get that feature. But I think it's mostly because it has to be mostly online. It has to get content updates and patches.
Uh,
Usually, it incentivizes uh, for continued growth, and their intentions is clear that, hey, customer, this game will be around for 2 to 3 years at least. You should come play our game and waste your time on this.
yeah,
Where Power World is more like, hey man, this is a cool game. Come play our game. Oh, you're done with it? That's cool. You can go over there and play something else.
yeah,
If you want to play offline, you can come back over here if you want.
yeah. I get what you're saying, and I think one thing you said that's a big thing too is you said online, and I wasn't really thinking about that. Even though
Mhm.
obviously Pal World is online, but that's not like it is a big component
It's
of it, but it's not like a main.
yeah. The offline is also a major component because that's what I do most of the time.
Yeah. Whereas like Fortnite, you can't play offline unless you're
Yeah,
playing
in
like a specific
Helldivers you
game
can't
mode or
play
something.
offline. Warcraft you can't. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. It makes it interesting though. What would you call a game like Minecraft? Because you have okay, listen before you say anything. Take Minecraft, right? It came out in 2012. Obviously, it came out before that technically, but the official release came out in 2012. This game has been profitable for a very, very long time. Even despite no like microtransactions stuff. I guess now you could kind of argue on Bedrock there is like a type of microtransaction. But at least for Java, there is no microtransaction except for Realms, I guess. A lot of people play it. It's still one of the most played games, if not arguably, possibly even the most played game in the world still. Maybe not though, but like it's still really high up there. So it's been wildly popular. The online is wildly popular, and it has been throughout its entire life. And it gets huge updates, sometimes multiple times a year, but in recent years, I would say more just like once a year, or like once every like 10 months, which is essentially like every year. Is that live service, right? It's interesting. Like, how do we define that?
I think it's not, because if we break it down, the intention of the game was probably a single player survival game, right? At the very start. Then he decided to add a multiplayer function, and that came huge. The game became hugely popular, so the server counts blew up. And when you consider all the amount of people that play this game, especially online, so let's use that to be like, what is it, live service, or if people are playing it online, how much of it is Minecraft servers, how much of it is custom servers, and how much of the population is actually intrigued by the base game, and how much of the community is actually playing a modded game. Because I think Minecraft's popularity is mostly attributed to the community's way to keep the game alive. They keep modifying it so people can play. There's always a different version to play. And yeah, the company releases an update like not frequently, but they do update it pretty big updates, like you said, around once a year. But at this point, they have other money makers, so they released the other Minecraft game. So they had that to get some money off of, to kind of get a small team to work on an update for Minecraft. So yeah, I wouldn't classify it as a live service because of those points, if that's something you agree on. Unless you have a counterpoint.
I will counterpoint everything you just said.
Everything?
Well, I don't know about everything, but some of what you said at least. I think it being modded means nothing to whether it's a live service or not. Because I don't think it matters, right? Why does WoW can technically be modded, even though it doesn't really change anything in the game, but like...
You'd be banned.
In WoW?
Yeah.
No. You can have like custom HUDs, and you can have like NPCs talk and stuff. Like have voice lines and all that type of stuff. I know it doesn't change stuff in the game.
Superficial stuff.
Yeah. But it's still arguably modding. But I don't think modding even matters, right? Because that has nothing to do with them updating the game over a long period of time. I also think that Minecraft is an extremely lucrative, and there is no end goal for Minecraft. Because if there was, it would be probably over by now, right? They will keep updating Minecraft like any other live service game. I'm not determining that it's live service right now. I'm just saying that as a live, like kind of like a live service game, until it becomes non-profitable, which is at this point kind of looking like WoW and possibly never so far.
It's just, if they are getting profit from that game, where is it coming from?
People buying the game.
Again?
Of course. People...
Doesn't everyone own the game by now?
No. Why would they keep giving out big updates and stuff if they weren't making money, like ridiculous amounts of money on it?
See, I think the mods do matter because it's what brings people in to buy new copies.
By the way, I don't know if you're aware of this because so I guess maybe this is a perspective thing. A lot of young people, you may think that like a lot of the people that play Minecraft are like older at this point because it's been around for a long time based off of what you're saying.
I'm aware that the kids buy it.
Yes, it's still very popular with young people, which means plenty of people are buying the game.
And new users, right?
Yeah.
If Minecraft lasts a long time for people to grow up, they'll buy it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Parents, you have the copy, give it to your child.
That's the thing. Right? Maybe, but a lot of them probably are playing with their children too. That's the funny thing.
That's true.
Because I've heard that too. I've heard, some parents play with their children. It's interesting. I think that line is a little bit blurred on that one. I get where you're coming from, but I think it's a little bit blurred.
It's just if it wasn't popular, they wouldn't try to keep it afloat either.
That means nothing, though. If Fortnite wasn't popular, they wouldn't try to keep that one afloat either. That's the same thing.
Think they pull every string to make it last as long as possible.
Course.
Where Minecraft, I don't think to be like, oh, look, the game didn't make as much money. I don't think we'll release an update.
Are you crazy?
Well, Fortnite.
You're telling me the most played game ever of all time, Minecraft, is the most sold and played game ever of all time. And you're telling me if they had like one time where they were like, wow, we didn't get what we were expecting.
I didn't say one.
Or like a few
we're
times.
Not making money.
Yeah, they're not making money. That they wouldn't be like, money. Well, this used to be our most lucrative game of all time. Maybe we should try.
It's Microsoft now. I 100% believe that they move on.
I don't think so. I think either they would make another Minecraft themed game to try and like kick it back off.
Yeah, but then that's not Minecraft.
But the same argument can be used for any game. Fortnite would be the same thing. If they started losing money, like a ton of money, and it wasn't worth it anymore, they would try to do something, whether it's releasing Fortnite 2 or like trying to get the next update to be a big one so people could join.
I see what you're saying. I just think like if you had a graph and you had a line of when they stop, when the money stops, I think Minecraft, wherever the money stopped, Minecraft would stop releasing out updates. Meanwhile, Fortnite would be like, oh, the money stopped here. We're going to try to kind of bring it back. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, now we're done.
I don't agree.
I think there'd be a period to kind of,
I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. Why would they just like stop? It was their most lucrative title and they're just going to be like, well, fuck, we lost money. I guess we're just going to stop.
Because for the same reason why Minecraft releases an update every year and Fortnite releases like 6 a year. I think they have a planned like a content launch. And they're like, oh, okay, the next content launch is going to get people, and then there's a surge, but it's not huge, and they're like, oh shit, the next one that'll get them. Meanwhile, Minecraft's like, well, next update we plan to add another furnace, and like more ghosts. we wanted to add ghosts. No, wait, there is ghosts. There's wraiths. We wanted to add a daytime ghost.
And then multiple millions of people played.
Yeah. And then there's a huge surge. People gotta see them ghosts. I just think that's what I mean. Like, the scale of the content itself is indicative to how they would try to keep it going. Because,
I think this is going to be a hot take. I think Fortnite will die before Minecraft.
That's not a hot take. I believe in that statement.
The reason why I say this, and this is going along with what you just said, just to kind of show you where, like, I don't think that you're wrong, but, or just to, like, see a different perspective, I guess. So, like you said, Microsoft owns Minecraft, right? It's owned Minecraft for most of its life at this point. Microsoft has put a stranglehold onto Mojang to release safe updates, which is why, because
What are safe updates?
safe as in like everything is very meticulous and kind of like planned out, or maybe planned out's not the right word, but like they can't do stuff freely without it being approved. This is not just me like spouting a random shit. I remember reading or hearing about this or something. It's why Minecraft doesn't get as many and as big updates as it used to. They're kind of playing like a safer game, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I think Fortnite will struggle more over time because things keep changing so much and people don't like change that much. Like people like big updates and stuff, but if you keep messing with stuff like, oh well, the movement has changed again, and then the guns have changed again, the way they work has changed again, oh, and there's like a million guns in the game now, and like it becomes kind of like overwhelming. Whereas Minecraft is doing a more like slow burn type thing. We'll see though. I might be wrong. But I was just telling you that because that's kind of the reason why Minecraft slow burns more. It's more of like a meticulous thing, less of like they can't pump out. They could pump out way more. They used to pump out 2, sometimes even 3 updates in a year. And they were bigger updates too, like a lot more changes.
You made me think of something. I remember, I think I watched a video about Fortnite profit margins and stuff like that, and they're highly profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But something that's kind of hilarious is that all of the copyright cuts they have to pay out to all the different like Goku, the people who created Goku, and the people who created Keanu Reeves. It's actually digging in a huge portion.
Keanu Reeves, is that what you said?
Yeah, hell yeah, because we all know it's. Ah shit! I meant John Wick.
Yeah,
Not Keanu. My bad. The people who own the rights to John Wick, not Keanu Reeves. But it's actually eating to a large part of their income on their profit margin, so it makes them less profitable than desired. Not that they're losing money, just than desired.
yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious, because then they dug themselves into a hole that this is the norm for Fortnite, so they can't just stop giving their money to other people.
Yeah.
You're like, hey guys, our game's awesome. You want some money? Get in here.
I mean, I wouldn't even doubt that Fortnite's a lot more profitable than Minecraft just because of microtransactions and stuff.
Well, here's an example. My coworker, okay, he straight up told me, he was like, hey man, I don't play Fortnite anymore and I regret something. I'm like, what? I think I spent like $1,500 in V-Bucks in that game. I'm like, dude, you're not even 20. The hell are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, my nephew and the other kid I used to work with, same thing, man. They would waste their money. I think Apex though was the one they wasted more in. Or maybe it was Fortnite. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, same thing. They would come up to me, we'd be talking stuff about games, and they'd be like, yeah, I spent like $200 last night on these boxes or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, bro, save your money, man. Like, what? It's such a waste of money. I don't get it.
There's so many cool, tangible things you can buy. I know this sounds really old man, but this is like, I've bought in-game stuff, but I buy them with always the thought in mind that how much money do I want to give this developer that created a good experience for me? I played 100 hours of a game. Maybe it's worth giving them $10 for that 100 hours. If I spend 1,000 hours in a game, maybe it's worth $100. It'd take me a huge convincing to put $100 into a game, just like straight up $100, but maybe $100 over time for 1,000 hours, not so bad. I probably did it on Rocket League, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, anything after $500, I have a really hard time to justify it. Any amount of time in a video game, I don't see how it could spend $500 in cosmetics specifically. DLC is different because if the game's great and I played it for 10,000 hours, I'm gonna buy the DLC.
Yeah.
And that could easily accumulate to $500. But cosmetics specifically, like once you hit a $500, you should seriously consider, are the people you're giving $500 to worth the $500? Because that's the only thing your money is good for. The cosmetic doesn't give you anything. The game can turn off next day and you lose everything. People are pissed that Dota... Is it Dota? No. Smite. The new Smite isn't getting all of the skins transferred over.
Yeah.
There's going to be legacy skins, but people don't even get their skin transferred. They only get half price on legacy. So not only do you lose all the money you spent in the first game, you have to rebuy in the second game. And you can't blame the developers. Like, they made a new game. It doesn't easily transfer in that way. But it also sucks.
Yeah.
Right? But it like, you can't expect that of a developer, so don't spend that much money into a game.
Yeah.
Buy a couple of skins to support them, but don't be fucking ass hurt that your $10,000 gone because they can't make the game right. No, they're making another game. This is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You're stupid to spend that much money. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's like any game, right? I mean, it sucks, but it's like you said, and this is like the same principle of like, like how they say you don't own online games, which is technically true. I mean, you do own them in a sense, but like, if
it's
Steam,
a license.
Yeah. If Steam went down and all your games are on Steam, then you lose all your games. It is what it is. That's just how it works. And this is like the same principle, slightly different, obviously, because we're talking about a new game, but it's the same thing, right? They've made a different game. It's an entirely different game. And some studios will transfer the stuff that you had from the previous game to the new one. It does happen. I've seen it happen, but
it's rare.
Yeah, and they don't have to.
It happens less. Sorry. When it does happen, it happens less than it doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it the right way.
I know
There's
what you
a
mean,
way of saying it. I'm not saying
it happens. You want to say the more often than not, but the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
More often than not,
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And a good example is CSGO 2 is getting the skins transferred, but we all know why. It's because there's a huge market on the fucking skins.
Yeah.
They're not going to give up their $1,000 skins that people attach the fake value to.
Yeah.
It'd be stupid.
That would be a huge, huge outrage, right? At least most games don't have that much value in the stuff that you buy, except for like the amount of money you spend on it. But if you spent like multiple thousands of dollars on cases and stuff, and you have like several like multi-$1,000 knives, and you would lose all of that, that would be just like, people would lose it, right?
Yeah. And a huge trade market that's super active, trading these skins back and forth for hundreds to thousands of dollars, just dead overnight. Because the game was like, nope, ain't having that. But the game wouldn't be dead. Well, it would be because they actually shut down CSGO 1.
Yeah.
But like, no one would be playing CSGO 2 because they didn't port the skins.
Yeah. And Counter-Strike has a huge what do you call that? Like
gambling addiction.
Well, that too. But I mean, like, it has a huge amount of, like, it can lose a lot, right? Because I think it's the most played game on Steam still, or it was at least for a while.
Didn't
or
Power
it's like
pass
really
it?
up there. I don't mean like I meant like consistently, not necessarily like peak.
Mm,
Um,
yes, you're right.
so it's like, do you want to lose all those people? You know, it's like, probably not.
In one straight go.
Yeah. To kind of go back on what you were saying, at least for like my side, which I pretty much fully like, I'm kind of the same as you. If I spend a lot of time in the game, especially if it's a free to play. So paid games, I would almost rather never spend any money in it at all, unless I
Mhm.
really, really want something. There is like some exception, and it depends how expensive it would be too. Uh, if it's like too expensive, then no. It's like an automatic no. It doesn't matter. If it's just not worth it at all, I will not buy anything in the game. Um, Even less so if it's pay to win. I just probably wouldn't even play the game if it's pay to win.
Mhm.
Um, if it's a cosmetic and it's a free to play game, I'm kind of like you. The more investment I have, the more inclined I would be to possibly buy stuff in the game. Uh,
Which is normal
yeah,
for most people.
yeah. Same thing though. If it's too expensive, then I would probably never even bother. If it's not too expensive, or if it's expensive but it's something I really want and I play the game a lot, then I might make an exception. Uh, I wouldn't like that though. It would hurt my soul
Yeah.
because I think things are way too expensive for cosmetics and stuff. But sometimes you kind of like bend a little bit, right?
Hmm.
That's how they get you. But generally, I'm kind of the same as you. Yeah, if I spend a lot of
Yeah.
time, I'm more inclined. Sometimes I could play a free game and I just don't care. I'm not like a big person that cares about cosmetics that much. Like if I can, I will.
Hmm.
But if I can't and it's expensive, then I don't really care. I just want to have fun in games generally. So like visual stuff
Oh
doesn't bother
yeah.
me that much.
Usually when I have fun, it makes me want to buy something because I'm having fun,
Yeah,
not because I don't have it.
yeah,
Which is what I think games are trying to do. Instead of giving the customer a good time, they just give the customer a good way to buy something useless.
hmm
It's what it feels like. Diablo 4. Diablo Immortal. I'm looking at you. uh,
um,
uh, Something I wanted to add. I also think now, like, most people are kind of like our thought process, but get lost into the purchasing. So, like, oh, I bought something $5 here. I bought something $5 there. I bought something $10 here. It's not a lot of money. I don't spend a lot. I love this game, but something I would propose those like people who actively buy microtransactions. Look at your monthly spending on a game, and if it's like something ridiculous, you should stop.
yeah,
Yeah, I think if you look at the grand picture of a month, it'll give you a good idea if you're overspending on a video game or not. And if you have a shit ton of money to burn and you love doing it, don't listen to my advice.
I was gonna say, okay, there's
Do
it.
what you want, but like if you're people like us, watch out.
Yeah,
Just don't broke yourself on a video game.
that's what I was gonna say. It's interesting because there's different perspective, right? So first of all, I think young people tend to care less.
Mm.
Uh, like kind of like we said earlier, like the guy you work with, or the guys I worked with. Um, and when I was younger, I was probably more like that too. I think I probably would have been a little bit more gung ho because you don't realize the importance of money as much, especially if you're not like, if you don't have responsibility and stuff, which a lot of most younger people don't. Some do. It happens depending on
Mhm.
what happened in your life, but and some are smarter in general too. Uh, or well, I shouldn't say smarter. It's not that the other one, the other ones are dumb, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Uh, but they don't see like what's to come, right? So like when I would talk with my nephew, especially my nephew, And I would keep trying to tell him, I'm like, believe me, I'm like, in the future, you're going to look back and you're going to think, wow, I wish I would have saved all that money. That was a waste of money. I shouldn't have wasted it on all this stuff. You know, because you could be at that point in his life, he was 15, I think, 14, 15. You know, you could be saving money for college or university, for moving out, car, or like so many things that you can save money on bills and just save that money for emergency and all that type of stuff. And this is like an adult way of thinking, but children or younger people, teenagers, they don't think about that, right? It's more like a living in the moment because you don't have that responsibility of paying bills, or you don't have to worry about having a car yet, or yeah, it hasn't hit you. And I get it. I've been there. And I've also been there when, you know, people tell you to save money and stuff and you don't listen to them because you're young. And so it's like you kind of get it when you're trying to tell them, but at the same time you're like, man, why you're not listening to me? It's like, you know, it makes so much sense. You get older like us, and you know, we're not making that much money in particular. Like, we're fine financially, but we're just not, like, you know, we're not rich or anything by any means. So you have to think about that stuff more, and you can spend money on games and stuff once in a while, but you can't just like waste whatever money. You have bills and stuff to pay. And then there's people that are rich, and then I feel like if I was rich, then I probably wouldn't care. Now, there's exception to this because I haven't been rich in my life so far. So even if I was to become rich, or like really, I don't even have to say rich, just like really well off, I don't think my mentality would change that much. Maybe I would spend more in games, but like, I don't think all of a sudden I would just be like buying every single thing I want all the time, because I've been through hardship, and like I know how to manage money better at this point and stuff like that. However, people that are born rich, it's a completely different thing. I feel like you almost can't blame them. If you are born rich, then it doesn't matter, right? You will spend money on whatever whim, because you haven't learned the importance, because it's not really important to you because you have, you know, like whatever amount you need.
And some of them that are born rich and have this amazing opportunity to be rich usually stay rich the rest of their lives, because the crazy thing about life is that once you reach a certain point of wealth, money makes money. You don't really have to do much, you just have to invest, and then your money literally makes money. And that's why poor people stay poor, because we can't invest in stocks with no money.
I think it's worth mentioning too that, like, I didn't want to come off, if it came off this way, that's not what I meant. Rich people can spend their money on whatever they want, right? Anyone can. Like, I'm not blaming them. Yeah, it's like, if you want to spend a ton of money on a game, like, go ahead and do it, and it's, you know, whatever, it's fine. There's nothing like morally wrong about that or anything.
There's only one thing I could argue that it's wrong about it. If you're spending money on a game, but no one can stop your enjoyment, you're just fucking it for everyone else. If you're supporting a game that's shit and like showing that microtransactions are great, and you're like this person that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on a game because you're oodles rich, you're having a great time, but you're fucking it up for everyone else, and people can judge you for that. We can't stop you. It's your money. Have the fun how you like. But we can judge you for it and be like, fuck you.
I think, I mean, whales, usually they call them whales when people spend a lot of money like that. I don't think it matters that much. I get what you're saying. I just mean, like, I think it matters more when a lot of people are. The whales, like, are a big part of it, but a lot, like, the small ones are a big part of it too, right?
It is. I wish there was a concrete number and like percentage of whales to regular player base on like a game like Diablo, either one, 4 or Immortal. I'm curious what's the population difference between the people who can have everything, because it'd be easy to find out because you just find the people that are fully kitted, because you literally can't get fully kitted if you play for free, which is insane. And then you just compare like fully kitted kits to non-fully kitted kits, and you're like, oh wow, what's that percentage? It'd be crazy to find out. Probably make me feel bad.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Obviously satire,
Yeah.
but yeah, I am curious about the number. If that number is like findable.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge tangent for live service games. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else to touch on live service games?
Well, we covered most of the bad. Did we talk about any good ones?
Okay.
I just mentioned Helldivers 2 was good, but we didn't actually play it. I just
Okay.
know it's a good game.
The good thing I would say, or at least one of the good things, if there are multiple things. I think, first of all, it fuels, so like kind of going hand in hand with live service and microtransactions. It definitely fuels for bigger, more spectacular updates. And you and I have like butted heads on this a little bit in the past, but I think Fortnite is a great example of this. It makes ridiculous amounts of money and it gets big updates very frequently. I think.
I mean, we butted heads about a specific instance, like technologically speaking, not actually about the game.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I agree with you on the content and goodness of it.
Yeah. I know we haven't fully agreed on this, but I would argue Minecraft is kind of an example of this. It's lasted so long and it still gets major updates and stuff. And it's by far their flagship, you know?
Would you think that original Minecraft, let's call like pre-Microsoft original Minecraft and post-Microsoft live service Minecraft, would you agree to that? That pre-Microsoft, the game was non-live service. I think original creator probably thought Minecraft would end, but then he sold it for a shit ton of money because he was like, wow, this game's not going to end. I don't want to deal with this. And then Minecraft bought it and is like, Minecraft is great. We are going to support this for the rest of its life.
To be fair, I don't know like what happened or like if what you're saying is right or not. But when he sold it, Mojang existed. Like it's not like he was developing the game by himself at that point, you know.
He created Mojang.
Yes, and he was the creator of Minecraft.
Mojang.
Yes, I agree with that. And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying the way that you said that made it sound as if like he was still the only person working on the game.
No.
And he was like, man, team. This game is so big now. It's like I don't want to deal with this anymore.
No. He obviously tried and probably hit a certain point where like I think this game's complete to me.
It's hard to say though, right? Because
time to sell.
It could just be a cash out. I think it sold for like 2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I might be mistaken about that number. Something tells me it was that.
He got ripped off.
You can argue that, though. But I mean, 2 billion is ridiculous amounts anyway, right?
It's ridiculous.
Like I wouldn't even care.
I need my next 10 generations to have an easy life, okay? I'm not selling this game for less.
Man, 2 billion by itself is probably more than 10 generations, unless you're like really wildly wasting that money.
I bought 100 Bugattis. I got 2,000 homes.
That's nothing, man. That would be like a
I
drop in the
know.
bucket of 2 billion.
I made a decent dent.
um, I think I don't think it matters. At least me personally, I don't know like what he would think about it. But say like if I had a game and I sold it for 2 billion, I'm saying two. Let me. Hold on. I think I can Google it right now. Yeah. How
Billions is insane
much
for a
was
game.
Minecraft sold for? Yeah, 2.5 billion.
That's crazy.
It is. But
That's
here's the thing,
such a
right?
big number.
What is Minecraft worth?
How do you determine value of the investment?
I think it's just estimations. Huh. Interesting. Right now, it's estimated to be at least 1.7 billion.
They lost money.
But
He made out with a steal.
no, because that would be 1.7 billion now. That doesn't consider how many probably multiple billions of dollars they've made with Minecraft and other like various Minecraft related things over time. I'm sure they've made a lot more than 2.5 billion, don't worry.
It's a steal.
Here's the thing though, right? Even if Minecraft say was worth like 20 billion now, or like over time, like the franchise and everything would have made him 20 billion instead of 2 billion. If that was me, I wouldn't care because 2 billion is so much money. I don't care about the extra 18 billion. Who cares? 2 billion is like way more than enough.
We know people are overachievers, okay? And we might be those people too. We don't know. We haven't reached that point. We could hit 2 billion and be like, no, I want more. Know what I'm saying?
Nah, if someone came up to me and they were like, unless it was something I really loved, there's a difference. Like if I liked something, if I was creating something and I really loved it, that 2 billion wasn't worth it to me. Like I didn't want to let it go. But this would have to be like my passion, like really like something that really makes my life mean something, you know what I mean? Like it has to be for $2 billion, it has to be really, really convincing, right? But if it wasn't to that point and it was more of like a job, like I made this game, I like it and I enjoyed making it and stuff, but this company comes up to me and $2.5 billion is their offer for the game, I'm taking the $2.5 billion. You know, and like that's a lot of like that's an unpassable amount of money almost.
Plus all the money you already made on it.
Yeah, exactly, right? He made money before that too, so.
So, I don't know. I'm 95% sure I'd be the same as you. So like, oh, you get an offer on anything that I would make that's crazy, like $1 billion money. I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. I think
even
I'd be
100 million. Like
yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm good at 100 million. I want to be at 1 million because I
no,
picture myself having 1 million. I can spend 1 million pretty fast. It's a
Yeah.
lot of money, but like I pay my mortgage. That's like a quarter of it gone right there.
yeah.
I buy a car. That's another. You know.
I think 1 million's life changing, but
Yes.
depending on how much I cared about what it is, again, it's just levels of how much I care about it, I guess. If I'm working on something or doing something or whatever it is, but it's not something I'm like super passionate about, it's just like something I fell into or whatever, and it just so happens to be valued at 1 million, and that 1 million is more than what I see myself profiting, or maybe I just want to be rid of it and get the 1 million, then maybe potentially I would accept it, right? Because $1 million is still a lot of money. But there's levels. Like if it's something I enjoy or like a business I like or whatever, a game or something, then I agree with you with what you said. Then I would probably be like, nah.
Yeah. The thing, I wouldn't say insignificant to me, like the thing that I produce. It wouldn't have to be insignificant, but it would have to be a very small part of my life to be sold for 1 million, I think. Because for anything to be worth $1 million, you put a decent amount of effort to get it there, and you're probably at the tipping point of it being worth a lot of money. That's why you're being offered $1 million in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird gray zone of you're probably going to be making more money, and they're just offering it for them to be in that position of, oh, this thing is suddenly worth 50 million. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
At least that's what it's technically a gamble. I think it's a safe gamble.
Yeah.
Where someone asks, if someone shows up and offers me 2 billion and I only made like, I don't know, 500 million so far off my business, I'd be like, ah. This is a gamble I don't know if I should take.
For $1 billion.
I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. I think for $1 billion.
$1 billion, you made half of that billion already.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not.
And it's going up.
But I'm not money obsessed. And sometimes if it's like a really stressful thing or something, sometimes, and you're not like, it's not like something you're extremely, that's why I said there's levels, right? I feel like it all matters. What really matters is probably how passionate you are about the thing
at the time when you get the offer.
Yeah, I think the money doesn't mean that much. Because say, okay, this is going to be a stupid, really, really stupid example, right? I have this cap here for my bottle. Okay, I don't care about this cap. I have no attachment to this cap. It means nothing to me, right?
How rude of you.
I mean, it goes on my bottle, which is nice, I guess. But other than that, I don't have any attachment to it. If someone came up to me and they were like, I'll give you $100 for this cap, I'd be like, yeah, of course. Yeah, it sucks I don't have the cap for my bottle anymore, but I don't have that much attachment, and $100 for this is ridiculous.
You know what's weird? I think I'd say no. I don't know why. I think I'd just say no because I would be weirded out. I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do with this?
But I was just using that as an example.
I understand what you're saying, and I think if it was something different than a bottle cap, I'd agree with you. It's just picturing it and be like, what? No, why do you want it?
Yeah. My point being is that it's the same thing for a company or a game I own or something. Depending on the amount of money and how much investment I have into it. But then there's a level of like so much money that you almost can't refuse, that it has to be like your life passion or something that you really love. Like I could enjoy doing something. Okay. I make a game. I really like the game. I like working on it.
Yeah.
But there's a certain level of money. If they say $1 billion, where I would almost say yes no matter what, except for unless it's like changing my life. Like I'm really like, you know, like not just money wise, but I mean like mentally and stuff.
I think a good example, actually, I just thought of one. So people who like cars. So there's a market for cars, and it's always fluctuating. It's pretty high right now, and it's kind of ridiculous. But if you take a car that you have and you modify it to your liking, you put a different suspension on it, you lower it, you put nice rims, I don't know, you like having spoilers, you put a body kit, whatever. You do what you want to do to the car to make it yours. You drive it for a year that way, and you're like, man, I don't love this car as much as I do anymore. It drives great and stuff, but man, I really want this new one because I heard it's better. I want to get rid of this one. Now, technically speaking, putting modifications on a vehicle lowers the price point because you are modifying the vehicle to your liking, a very specific niche market of yourself. So to sell your vehicle to a price that you think it's worth, you have to find someone that also likes your vehicle exactly the way you do. So here comes the similarities. you're passionate enough to make this car into your own, but disconnected enough to, or annoyed, like bored of it enough to get rid of it. If someone shows up and says, you did all this to this car, it's worth less than market value, here's what I think it's worth. You'd obviously say no, because you had an investment into this vehicle and it's not worth that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you meet the person, let's say you bring it to an auction where it's very like, they obviously make auctions to be centered around set pieces and people show up specifically for that. And 2 or 3 people are there and they're like, wow, that's the shit. And then they start bidding on it and it's like, wow, it's suddenly $100,000. Well, fuck, I wanted 25. Joe Blow offered me 10. 100,000. Whew. Yeah, I'd sell it for 100,000.
Yeah. Even though it's something you love, it's like, well, there's amounts of money sometimes where it's like, there's a lot of money and I can do a lot more with that, right?
Yeah, you can get another car.
Yeah.
I think it's still it's kind of far from the point, but it's still, the mentality is the same to when you want to give something up.
Yeah.
Because you're essentially devaluing the product when you make it. I know when you make a video game, you don't devalue the video game making the video game, but like I know that's a hard difference, but just the principle of getting a suddenly like an offer that matches or higher to what you think it's worth would make you be like, oh shit, yeah, it's time to get rid of it. Because that's essentially what the video game would be. You got this game, you made this much, someone's gonna offer at or higher than what you think it's actually worth for you to sell it.
Yeah.
And that might be $2 billion.
$2 billion would be extremely hard to refuse.
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think we've gone off topic for like 20 minutes now on tangent.
I think we barely talked about my topic.
No, we talked about your topic plenty. What do you mean? I think we talked about your topic the entire time, except for the last 20 minutes.
The kind of like what I had planned out doesn't match what happened, so that's why I'm saying it.
You know what? Shit happens. It's still
fine.
Worked out.
It's fine.
I don't know if you had. I can't think of really anything else to talk about in terms of live service games and stuff, unless you have something more to add.
No, I'm good. We're pretty much over time by quite a bit now, and it's late, so I think it's a good time to end it.
Okay,
let's cap it off.
Sounds good.
Thanks for anybody that was watching tonight. If whoever's listening, I hope you had a good time. My name's Jesse, also known as KVM. You can find me here because I'm not really anywhere else.
My name's Manuel, and yeah, thank you for watching. Also known as Solikit. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube and TikTok and all that, but I haven't really been posting or streaming. I should get back to it. Also, you can catch us typically Saturday at 5 p.m. EST live on the various podcasts. Or if you missed that, usually the episode releases a week later on Spotify and RSS at Saturday 2 p.m. EST. Yeah.
And just a quick explanation about tonight's off-schedule stream. Mostly because I had shit going on at home, so I had to postpone.
Yeah.
And you got this lovely episode today.
Yeah. So there might be exceptions to the Saturday live stream sometimes, and that's all right. But we're gonna try to keep the releases on Saturdays on the podcast platforms consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you for watching or listening. That's it from us, I think.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.